Welcome. Today's Facebook Live will delve into the profound impact of adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, and how current events like the Los Angeles fires are contributing to traumatic experiences. ACEs are stressful or traumatic events that occur in childhood and are linked to a wide range of long-term effects on health, behavior, and life potential. The Los Angeles fires remind us of how devastating natural disasters can affect countless lives, in particular our children. The fires are not just a physical disaster, but also a significant emotional and psychological ordeal, potentially leading to lasting impacts in a person's well-being. Today, we'll explore how such large-scale disasters serve as an ACE and review what can be done to mitigate these effects. We will hear about strategies for resilience, the importance of family and school support, and how early interventions can be crucial in helping adults and young individuals recover and thrive after such traumatic events. Thank you for joining us today. It was my recent conversation with Aloe that inspired the idea for this Facebook Live session, which is dedicated to supporting parents and teachers in coping with trauma from the recent fires in Los Angeles. We know when we take care of ourselves, we can be better for others. We can take care of others, our children and students. Please remember, the information shared here is applicable to any natural disaster. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Aloe Black, Grammy nominated singer, songwriter, known for platinum hits like I Need a Dollar and Wake Me Up, which has surpassed over 4 million billion streams. Aloe uses his music for social change, embodying his AIM philosophy of affirmation, information, and motivation. Aloe is also the founder of Major Inc., a biotech company focusing on developing cancer treatments. He is with us today as a parent whose children have been impacted by the recent fires in LA. A reminder that no one is immune to the trauma of natural disasters. Now, we also have Dr. Brian Allman, a leading expert in mind-body healing with a PhD in clinical psychology. He's also known as the Doctor of Last Resort by Kaiser Permanente. He has authored 14 books and collaborated with Dr. Vincent Felitti on adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. Dr. Allman specializes in trauma and stress management, offering innovative solutions through his mobile app, books, and training programs across healthcare, education, sports, and business sectors. Dr. Allman and Aloe will demonstrate what you can do today to start moving past the trauma and stress you have all been through as part of the fires. Dr. Allman and Aloe, I turn it over to you.
Um, Dr. Allman, as a parent, I've seen how my kids have reacted to the fires. They get scared, they get clingy, and sometimes they have trouble sleeping. And I just want to know what I can do to help them deal with the stress.
Right. The first thing, Aloe, is to always validate their feelings and give them support, what I call unconditional acceptance. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel quiet and not know how to deal with your feelings. So the first thing is to be very reassuring, very supportive, no matter what. That's the first move with them. And, it's so important with kids when they're going through a difficult time, like a natural disaster, any kind of trauma, to make sure that they feel some peace from you. So they know you're taking care of yourself as well as taking care of them, because that's reassuring. In other words, we'll get through this together. And that's
Yeah,
sort of your way of supporting them indirectly as well as directly.
that makes sense. And what else do you think I could do to help them feel a little more secure?
Yeah, it's interesting, Aloe, that consistency is really a master key. So consistency with mealtime, consistency with bedtime. As you said, they might have trouble with sleep because of what is happening. It's so upsetting. And then they're feeling the grief and it's deep. So you're being supportive, encouraging. And something that's interesting as a dad, you probably have seen this, is that the last thing kids think and feel about before they fall asleep is almost always the first thing they think and feel about when they wake up.
Hmm.
So it's so essential as a nighttime ritual, whether it's your singing or storytelling or getting into a shared interactive story with them, that they fall asleep and go to bed with some feelings of peace, some feelings of support, really knowing that they're loved, because that's how they're going to sleep and dream, and that's how they're going to wake up in the morning. So there's a real cumulative benefit as well as immediate benefit to that kind of TLC at bedtime and that kind of consistency. There's
Right.
also a technique, Aloe, that uh, we found very useful in these situations called the entrance exit method. And that's another thing that you could do with your kids as well.
Okay, well, explain the entrance exit method. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, so it's a way for kids to be able to enter into the difficult feelings that they're experiencing. So you're acknowledging, you're reassuring, you're giving them space to feel what they feel, and then demonstrating and sharing with them a way to exit, to get back, to step back, to get some relief. So entrance, exit of the feeling. So you might say to one of your kids, hey, I know we're all going through a tough time. We're all scared. We're all worried about ourselves, other people. There's a lot of tension. So it's important for us to let ourselves deal with those difficult things, not push them down, not bury them, but actually bring them out and talk about them. So whatever you're feeling, and you can acknowledge it now with me, you can name it. Okay, so you acknowledge it, you share it, you give them space for that, and you're being supportive. Now let's do a grounding activity. Now we're going to the exit after that entrance into the feelings. Let's take a few deep, satisfying breaths together. Like before I sing, I take my breaths. When I sing, I'm breathing deeply. And you know what? Another way to really get some peace, and again, back to the exit part of this, LO, is let's draw a picture of our feelings, or just have some way of accepting what they're feeling and allowing it to exit. So that entrance exit approach is very healthy.
I love that. It
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And it gives them the space to feel their emotions, but also it gives them a way to move forward and thrive beyond.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, great. Thank you both so much for this insight on how we can learn to not only help ourselves, but help others and help our children, especially the most vulnerable in our communities. Thank you both. Together, like you said, and Alo, thank you for making me aware of this need and this opportunity. We can come together and help move forward beyond this trauma and get to a healthier state and a healthier future. Thank you. We're going to hear now from Dr. Michelle Evans, a subject matter expert on trauma, and president and head of school Lillian Petzel from Notre Dame Academy, a school in West Los Angeles that recently welcomed students displaced by the fires. Together, we will all explore challenges and strategies in supporting students and teachers. But first, I want to share a little bit more on our guest speakers. And first off is Dr. Michelle Evans. Dr. Evans is a Kaiser Permanente pediatrician specializing in helping families dealing with trauma and assisting them to get the support they need. She is also a subject matter expert to the adverse childhood experiences work here in my office. I want to highlight that Kaiser is the site where the ACEs work was originally initiated. And Lillian Petzel is a seasoned leader with over 30 years of experiencing transforming education in Los Angeles. She is president and head of school at Notre Dame Academy Schools and has driven excellence, innovation, and community engagement, securing a top 3% national ranking. President Petzel is a dynamic educator and speaker. She continues to shape the future of education. President Petzel, let's start with you. Can you please share your experience with integrating new students from various backgrounds and the unique challenges posed by the recent fires?
Thank you, Dr. Ramos. I'm so happy to be here to share a little bit of our experiences. Notre Dame Academy is in an interesting position because we have a very diverse population with 75 different zip codes on the campus. So it's a place where students can come here and see themselves in our campus and in our community very easily. And yet, when you're taking students in mid-year that haven't really even had a chance to get to know your school, they have health concerns about the air quality and the cleanup efforts. They are concerned about their children's academic losses. They're concerned about mental health. They're worried about not having their friends in their community. And they are looking for, they're looking for the school to be the place that stabilizes at least one thing very quickly.
Thank you. So it sounds like, President Petzel, you're providing that stability that kids need. But I'm sure, Dr. Evans, maybe you can highlight some of the ways that there's physiologic, psychologic presentations?
We are seeing that traumatic experiences can affect each person in all kinds of ways. So there can be physical and psychological behavioral manifestations. There's no one way that it shows up for a particular child. So one child may become reclusive and more withdrawn, others may act out, and some might seem completely fine on the surface, but are really struggling internally. So we really want to try as much as we can to check in with everybody, no matter how well or not well they seem. Some of the things that we can see are avoidance, forgetfulness, tantrums, changes in appetite, or changes in bathroom habits, changes in sleeping. We can also see physical complaints such as increased headaches, nausea, abdominal pain, vague concerns such as that. And there's no one-size-fits-all approach for supporting these kids. I would say that what's most important is offering a variety of tools and a variety of options so that each child can find out what's going to be most helpful for them.
You bring up a really good point, Dr. Evans, that there is no one-size-fits-all. And so with over 70 zip codes, President Petzold, can you share a little bit of how you provide that support, maybe not just for the students, but I would think as well for the teachers?
Yeah. So we immediately had to look at this in two parts. First of all, expediting the process to coming to the school. And we decided a couple weeks ago, let's spend a whole Saturday with these parents. And we said, let's welcome them, let's talk to them, let's see what their needs are, and let's expedite the process. For students that were really nervous, we gave them a shadow day right away. Like, come in and spend the day and just test it out. Try the school on for size. And we gave them a connection with another student that could spend the whole day with them. We loosened up a lot of our things, like we have uniforms at our campus. Come without a uniform if you don't have a uniform. We opened up the spirit store. Hey, do you need a spirit sweatshirt? Like something that's going to make you feel like you are part of us. And then on the teacher end, first of all, we went to the teachers and said, are we all in this together? And our teachers said yes. So we talked about what are the expectations, what to watch out for with students. How do we create some minglers instead of just going right into academic teaching? How do we do some things so that the class gets to know each other and they really welcome each other into it? The students that were already in those classes, we told them these kids were coming and we said, how do you welcome them? And then we offered counseling services to anybody who needed it. And then the last thing for the parents is we're planning a big mingler so that they all get to know each other and they meet each other. So both looking at the academic side, the personal, social side, we looked at all, and then the teacher component as well. So, and the teachers really have said, we're going to go slower. We're going to loosen things up a little bit. You don't have to know everything, and they've been made aware to look for certain signs that you talked about.
That's great. So at many levels, and it sounds like some of it was peer-to-peer, which is wonderful. Yeah. Now, Dr. Evans, can you share any tips that you share for families specifically to help their kids when they maybe feel overwhelmed or new experience with a new school?
Yes, and I think that I just want to commend you on a lot of the efforts that you've implemented already. Just being so proactive about building that sense of community and building in the routine and regularity, and then the flexibility as well, so that people don't have sort of the rigid barriers around everything, so that they can feel more comfortable in the new environment. So I really commend you for all of that work. So I would say that when families are feeling overwhelmed, children can experience what we call secondary trauma, and the children themselves may not understand what's happening. But they do feel it. They feel the reactions off of the adults around them and off of their peers. It's really important that we are reaching out to parents and talking to them about some of these behaviors and symptoms that their children may be exhibiting. And while the parents are frustrated themselves, just to also help them to understand how to interpret their children's behaviors and take care of themselves. parents are a really important part of this conversation because they really are the foundation for a child's sense of safety. And there's a lot that they can do at home. I would say as much as they can, bringing back some routine into the home is going to be very important. Structured activities at home. So while families may not be in the same physical house or location or apartment that they were in before, trying to bring back as much familiarity to the routines and the rhythm of their day as possible. So limiting the unknown as much as possible. One thing that's important that parents can do is review the schedule for the next day or for the next evening or the next morning as much as possible and talk through any changes that deviate from the normal routine, even providing updates on any changes during the day. And I would say also, in terms of the regular routines of the day that you're able to do as a family, such as mealtime and bedtime, try to create that sense of rhythm. So even though so many other aspects have changed, those particular activities have some familiarity and some comfort for the child.
That's great. So thank you both. So it sounds like, yes, we need to build structure. We need to really think about the saying that home is where the heart is. And so building in those routines, whether it's at school, whether it's at home, community is so critically important. Any final words?
Of course, I would say overall, creating a nurturing environment for students, parents, and teachers alike is very critical in the aftermath of a disaster, and continuing to do a lot of what you've already done by providing a space for connection, celebration, support. We can all have a role in helping all members of the community navigate this difficult road together to recovery.
I would agree with everything that has been said here today. I think, I always tell families, no matter what is happening in a child's life, school is a place where 6 hours a day, you can have guaranteed predictability. You could come here to school and, forget about things that are outside of school. But I think a piece that I've learned through the years is that you have to give everyone permission to not follow the plan exactly, or to not be perfect, or to not know. I think we need to say that to them. Let's surrender to the process in a way, because when you can surrender to it and give yourself permission to surrender to it, and we're not going to get to the next page in the math book, or we're not going to get our homework done, and it's okay to send a note saying we had a bad night and nobody slept last night in our home and no homework was done, or we cannot take the test today, and we will make an adjustment the next day and they won't take the test. We're okay with surrendering, that it's not about being perfect, and that let's just communicate the needs.
I love it. That's it. Surrender and work together. Thank you both, and looking forward to continuing our partnership throughout the years. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the
Appreciate it.
support.